Well, Ollie's home with Mom. Well, we're on our way home from the barn. As you can see, this is not Ohio. You guys got to learn how to close doors if you open them, right? Right. Yesterday we were about to leave for Ohio and realized, Lauren called and said the track was closed today. The main track was closed today in Ohio. So there's no point in us going over there when the whole point of us going there was to train. We're going home, babe.
No, I'm gonna go eat.
You never eat. You ate 2 bites.
Oh, look.
Is that a doggy?
It's Billy. It's Billy.
Billy.
Okay, hey, I'm doing video. All right there, Billy. So we were just about to go to Northfield Park and then realized that the track was closed, so I didn't go. So we stayed home, watched Macho Martini race. Now, I thought the horse race good. You have to be, I had a couple of people text me after and say, oh, he had him way out of the race and this horse got to be near the front. I get that. But you're asking a guy who's never driven the horse before to read a text message from me or talk to Tim and then look at the program and see that he made breaks on Ronnie Wren twice and then drive him in an aggressive manner. It's just unlikely to happen. I mean, I thought that Ridge drove the horse well, and I thought the horse raced very well. To come from where he did to be a closing third, I thought the horse raced very, very well. And then we watched Sailor race at night, who did not race well, but that's racing. Sailor has been on the list for a while to move somewhere. And now that we have a bunch of horses coming back, that's more prevalent now than it was at any point over the last 2 months. So Sailor, I talked to Stacy yesterday. I don't just want to move the horse out, right? I don't want this to be, I'm going to take my toys and stuff them under the bed. Not that anybody would do that in this house. But I don't want to just take Sailor and put him somewhere else to watch him do the same. If you can show me where Sailor can succeed right now, that would be helpful. And I know there's going to be some of my partners that say, oh, we'll just sell him. At any point, anybody can sell their shares. I'm not selling Sailor right now, and I'm not selling him in this condition. The horse is not racing great. He's in a funk, and he's not unlike a number of other horses that we've had at any given time that have been in the same issues. Now, they bounced back and raced well, and we forget about the funk that they were in, but again, that is racing. So Sailor, I could see him going to Dayton quite easily with Stacy. If there's not a class for him right away, I know there is a class in the Meadows with Tim. The problem is it's the same class that Macho Martini's in. So again, not going to be tripping over one another. I told Tim I think if he does go to the Meadows, it won't be full-time. That has nothing to do with Tim and more to do with the horse. Stacy has a farm. He's a bit of a hothead. To just have him out at the farm and relax and jog him lightly and then go in and race him at Dayton makes a lot more sense than I know what'll happen. If he's at the Meadows, he'll get hot. He'll be really, really hot, and within 3 or 4 starts, he'll be a runaway. And that's not Tim, Dean, or anybody else's fault. That's just the horse. I know the horse. So, does he get a start there? I don't know. We'll see. But he's got to go somewhere because there's not a lot of racing here. One, as I said, he's in a funk here, and two, there's no easy races here for him. Now, I'm not oblivious to the fact that he got a crappy trip. He was second over or third over. The horse that was second over stalled and then run in his face. He was shoved 3 deep early in the last turn and did not finish up the way we wanted. There was a lot going on in that race, but the end result was he was beaten 6th. So let's see if we can find a place where he'll be a victorious first. So again, as I said, watched Macho Martini race well. I thought he raced well yesterday. I see him getting incrementally better, staying away from the breaks, putting him in smart places. I was very happy with the way Ridge Warren drove this horse yesterday. So thanks to him. We saw a number of other horses make their initial starts in other places last week. We saw Red Overbach race at Northfield, and somebody said, well, I don't think he gets around half as great. And, is he coming back to Mohawk? Well, we could bring him back to Mohawk, but where would we race him? He's not as good as Resolute Bay and Renegade Gypsy. Not now for sure, anyway. There's nowhere to race that horse. That optional 50 claimer was a great spot for him, but he can't win in there. So it's not just where we race or how much we race for, it's how much we get. And the class that he's in is an optional 30 claimer, and as we get closer to Christmas, that optional 30 is actually going to help him because who wants to give that extra 25% away in allowance that he's going to lose in another 5 weeks. So I like the fact, I like where Red Overbach was the other day. I like the way he raced. Would he be suited for a bigger track? Yeah. But that's a good class for him right now. So I think Red Overbach can hang out right there for now. Matt's MVP raced fantastic. You guys know, and I've told you, there's no qualms about it. He is a horse that will do better on a bigger track, but we couldn't get him in. The class wasn't filling. We took him over there. He's got a first and a second, and he'll be a real player in the final of that series. So I was very, very impressed with what I saw from Matt's MVP the other day also. Another horse bouncing a little flat his last couple, but come out swinging this week again, J.K. Mickey Mantle. J.K. Mickey Mantle looked fantastic the other day winning it. Somebody said, well, he's supposed to win that class. Yeah, everybody's supposed to win a class, but you still got to go out and win it. And he looked very, very good doing it. Harry's barn's been red hot. We're trying to get Dominic's back in a place where we can get some horses in a consistent level. Dominic is no slouch. He knows what he's doing also. But when you have horses like Sailor that are a little down on their luck and in a funk right now, or White Tiger who can't find a proper class to race him in where he can do good, it's tough sometimes and it's very deflating. But, keep the morale up. We'll have horses that'll be moved around and horses that'll fit here and be at Dominic's barn for the winter also. Same as Mario, same as Jason's in Ohio, or Stacy's in Southern Ohio, or Tim's Pennsylvania, or even Jim. We want to find the right horses for the right classes and the right jurisdictions, and we're in the midst of doing that right now. So J.K. Mickey Mantle was very, very good. Yes, raced great again. Now, I love the fact that our clients are so involved. I love the fact that you guys are so involved, and Greg never misses a whole lot. Sent me a message, said, hey, there's a series starting next Sunday for non-winners of 2,000 per start. This is the perfect timing for this class for Yes. There's a horse that fell in a funk, much like Sailor. Just a number of things going on, but the culmination of those were bad races. So to see race well in his first two and win in 55 the other day, and he's in a spot with the rail again, drew well again this week coming up to come back on Sunday. Absolutely, I think this is a great spot for him to be in, and an absolute perfectly timed class for Compass Rose DC fits a bottom class also. That will bring her right into the new year, which is great. A little flat the other day, but might have been a little short the other day also. What I saw from that filly was a little soft on the end of the mile, and they're training her. The track being closed really screwed us today, but everybody understands what we're up against. Everybody knows you get out what you put in this industry. Everybody in this industry, our guys in Ohio and Ontario, Lauren and Daryl called me yesterday. Jason's almost back now. They called and said, hey, what if we just take her out Sunday before the races when they open the track and train her a good mile Sunday? How would that be? That would be perfect. If you could do that, that would be awesome. So, that's the dedication of our staff, is they're going to go out and train Compass Rose DC on a Sunday, just to make sure she gets a little tightener into her. 220, 215 would be great for Compass Rose DC. Just got to keep that filly tight, that mare tight, going into her next race. She'll be a little sharper on her toes as she races on Tuesday evening, I believe. Talking about sharpen on their toes, No Free Lunch has never been better than he's been his last 3 weeks, and looks like he's actually in an opportune spot in the open. No Free Lunch was always a decent horse, not this type. He has really, really come to life in the last 4 or 5 weeks, and that's, that time off that Harry gave him in the summer when we're all biting our fingernails saying, okay, now, and Harry was saying, can we just give him a couple more weeks? And he's worth that horse. When he's bad, he's really bad, so you really have to have him. Good when he's going to the track, and Harry's just done a tremendous job with this horse, and it's shown up. Man, he was awesome last week, and again, heading into tonight's race in the Open looks good. The only problem we're going to have moving forward is if No Free Lunch does really well tonight and Sintra does really well. They're both in the Open, and they are not racing against one another, so you may see Sintra take a little hiatus over to the Meadows. This will be his home. Ontario will always be the place we want Sintra if No Free Lunch. And the reason being, it's not that I said, well, why don't you take Lunch? He doesn't get around a 5/8 as well as Sintra. Sintra gets around any size track Whereas No Free Lunch kind of needs that big track. He's not as big as Sintra, but just his gait, the way he is, he needs a bigger track. And he won't be the one leaving. It will be Sintra. And that's not me saying, oh, Sintra's got to go. I would love. Everybody wants Sintra to be here, and I do also. But they race for good money in the Meadows. I would suspect we might be able to bushwhack them a couple of times before Burke brings some killer back in. So that would give us 1 or 2 starts and then move him right back to Ontario again. Being able to move him around will be the best for the horse and the best for us and the best for that class. Listen, here's the problem Harry Polton has. He's got 2 horses in the open pace and at least 1 horse in the open trot. It's a pretty good problem to have. And that comes to our other horse. I know everybody's waiting for Looks Like Money. James trained him the other day, and he actually called him a beast. That was his word. He said the horse was absolutely fantastic. So he's been paid for. They're a little tricky about releasing papers when they have the babies that aren't paid for yet, but you know, it's in past years it's been 2 separate entities, and it shouldn't be a problem. We should have the papers for Looks Like Money. We should have the papers for him this week, and he'll be in to go next week. He's sharp right now and ready to go anyway. And then, as I said, Resolute Bay, Renegade Gypsy have just been tremendous. The trip they went, you guys don't understand. Many of you do, but you may not. These are aged horses they're racing against. These are the horses I was concerned they may not be able to beat next year, and they are beating them now as 3-year-olds. These are gatekeepers. This is a tough bunch of horses. Resolute Bay and Renegade Gypsy were absolutely fantastic the other day. And we've been lucky. You know, if we continue to get good horses, if we continue to have good horses, we can find classes for them. It's the ones that aren't that good it's really tough to find classes for, and those are the ones we're trying to move out for whatever reason. That's a big lineup, but you know what? We have time. That lineup's okay for me. Because we have time, I have to do a couple of videos. We're at the car wash, and it's about 1 million cars deep right now. It's okay. It's all right.
No, it's not. I want to go home.
Oh, boo-hoo. Do you want me to get you a Kleenex for your tears? Yeah, you'll live. You know what I might do is get you to go over and see that place that says Centurion Coffee. I had a coffee from there the other day. It was pretty good, and Mummy really liked the peppermint mocha. Oh, heaven forbid. God gave you feet for a reason, you know. You can use them.
I already used them.
Oh, boo-hoo. So Renegade Gypsy, Resolute Bay were fantastic. Atlas Hanover was superb also. Didn't get in this week. I suspect the class just failed and he didn't get, the class was full and he didn't get in, but man, he's been awesome also. Patrick the Piranha looked good the other day. I think Brett will probably cut him loose tonight. Although he did say he had a little bit of a pus pocket that also, that same foot that Melissa and Mark were telling us about, still had an issue there. Something come out this week. So is he 110%? I don't know, but he's a tough bugger. He'll put him in the right spot. Walk on the Moon's in a good spot tonight, too. I'll give him a pass. He raced okay when Lauren drove him. I had no issues with the way he raced. Usually, I can look at his race and say, yeah, there's where he got himself beat. There's where he didn't put in a true effort.
Why do I have a Band-Aid?
I just got a little cut. It's okay. But this past week when Lauren drove him, I thought the horse raced great. Good as him has really, really, really come forward. This is the horse we bought, right? And I knew, you get roughed up at Plain Ridge, and we tried to race him on a half. I think being at this track with some watered down company sometimes, I think he's really come to life, and Brett and Stacy has done a tremendous job with this horse in Kings County. What more can you say about Kings County? He's been a killer. If you look at his Canadian stats, he is over 200,000 this year made. Now, American stats, he's a little bit lower, but is over 200 this year. So I just looked on track it this afternoon. Obviously, we got some horses qualifying I'm super excited about. Stay Close was awesome the other day. I didn't tell Dominic yet. We're looking for a class for Stay Close. Last 5 and last 10, he's a lot of money made, but the Meadows goes by last 4, and he fits the nominators at 8,000. We could potentially sneak him over to the Meadows for a start or two, and then again, he's a horse I want to have here in Ontario for the whole winter. Just really like this horse, and his qualifier was good. Right line in the qualifier, but he was very, very good. Unbeatable Kemp. Somebody said he just kind of fit. That's James. You guys know that. That's typical James qualifier. And that's fine. He looked at me after, he said the horse was awesome. That's all I need to know. One thing James is good at is understanding what the horse is ready to do and not ready to do. And if he tells me he's awesome, knowing what he is waiting for him when he enters into go, then I'm happy with that. He's ready to go for sure. Absolute Euphoria. Little hot coming out of the gate. And I don't want to say James shut her off. I don't want to say that because I don't know. but he said she rolled off for no reason the first turn. Pull her hobbles in a hole, put brace bandages on her behind. If we have to, we'll put a little trailer on her. There's a number of little tricks we can do that Absolute Euphoria will be wrinkle-free very, very soon. But you don't want to do them all at once. So next week, you'll see some vet wrap on her behind. We'll pull her hobbles in a hole, probably put a line pole on the inside of her. No problems at all. She should qualify quite fine. Patrick, LD's Patrick, he did make a break the other day, but it was because of what went on. Totally different situation. He was trotting good. Finished up his mile good. Yeah, well, life's tough. You'll learn in life. It's full of surprises and full of things. Sometimes you don't want them, but that's just the way that they work out.
Maybe you're the problem.
Yeah, the Ava Max? Yeah, maybe you're the problem.
Or maybe
They like
you're
that.
the problem.
So LD's Patrick will be in to go his next start. Absolute Euphoria will be back in to qualify. And my boy, Dustin Hanover, will likely qualify this week. Just super excited about going with this guy. I love Dustin Hanover. I don't know why. I like the fact that we bought him when we raced him. You could tell he hadn't even remotely scratched the surface of his potential. That would take time. Let him fill out, grow up. Still about 50 pounds underweight, but that's because he's turned a lot of that minor fat that he put on in the field into muscle. You got to continue to work with that, but he looked good training the other day. 2 minutes, come out 57. I know I said I'd go in 56, but I just don't know if he can by himself, actually. So we'll put him into qualify. I suspect very much that he'll go a mile 58 quite easily. We'll see how he qualifies on Wednesday. And then I could have led with this, I suppose, is the open houses. It's not lost on me that we haven't had one this year for the winter, and there's not one on the books. A little bit different. So let me let you in on a little secret. And this is what we're combating. This is what we're trying to fix. Stop it. What we're trying to fix right now, and it's hard to do, is that we have 2, maybe 3 empty stalls at First Line. We have 2, maybe 3 empty stalls at Northfield right now. We have 26 horses to come in from the field in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So we've asked for more stalls at First Line. We've asked for more stalls at Northfield, and I'm sure both places will be accommodating. But as that transition takes place, it's difficult. Now, I also am dealing with a casino company at MGM Northfield Park. Trying to convince them that an open house was a good idea in Ohio was easier than I thought, because they get it. And actually the person in charge of the racing side of the casino, he knows our model. He knows who we are. He understands it, and he's completely on board. So Brent was very, very good to deal with, and Dave Bianconi is always good to deal with. So it looks like we are going to have an open house at Northfield Park. Still, very important, every bit as important as an open house here. Now, as Mary and Jim can probably tell you, the people that come out every day, we have a little issue with First Line in the sense that the sight line, you can't stand at the corner of the track and see the whole training mile. There's a giant mound of dirt there.
Food was on the track.
Oh no.
Food was on the track now. He came off.
He came off?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good. Now we will be able to put the drone out. I'm sure no one's going to complain, especially, and if they are, we'll just put the drone up higher. But we will have the drone out for everybody. We want to have an open house. We want to have a little barbecue potentially set up, have some donuts and coffee for everybody. Everybody can come out. Now the beauty of having an open house, say on a Saturday, especially as we get closer to Christmas season, is if I can get some tables from Mohawk for all of us, that would be great. We could have a Christmas party, an open house. Sintra, no free lunch. Those horses will be racing at Mohawk that night. Hopefully, looks like money might be racing that weekend. A number of horses that we have racing doing very well at Mohawk are racing on Friday and Saturday. So that's a good thing also. This is what we're looking to do, is culminate both open houses, one in Ohio at Northfield Park, one at First Line, and have it all. Well, I guess I'll have it spill over because I can come back with Amy and the kids. Not everybody will want to follow us back to Mohawk for Saturday evening, but that Saturday evening, having everybody out to the track, up to the grandstand, and having a good time, because it's Christmas season. We want to spend time with you. We want to spend time with our clients, and sit down and watch our horses race. What would be better than that? So that's what we're trying to do right now, and I know it's a time crunch. We couldn't have done it any quicker, right? I reached out as quick as I could. We tried to have everything put in place as quick as we could, and I believe it'll work out just fine for us. But keep in mind, it is a bit different this year, and we do have a number of factors that weren't previously problems for us that we're trying to mitigate and get through. So talking about the babies, I had a number of horses that I went with today, and we had 3 short sets. Now, it looks like we're going to have around 20 horses in Ontario full-time for the foreseeable future. The rest of the horses will be at Northfield Park. We have more babies than we thought we would this year. We're upwards of 64 or 65 babies when all said and done. We still have 1 to come in this week that hasn't even been broke yet. So there isn't, it isn't a perfect situation. I knew that would work. So for me, I was pumped. I went with Seasons of Love today. I've seen her on the track. I didn't know what she was all about, and I wanted to work her today, and I did. Had to come in and put the hobbles on her, but man, when we put her in gear, she was very, very good. We got a few little videos from Mary and Paige who were there taking videos of their own. So we got a couple of sets. We got a couple of videos of a couple of sets to send out to you guys. It won't be long now. We'll have the drone out for both sides now. The video department in Northfield, which is absolutely perfect. And we'll have the drone out in Ontario soon enough. For now, I went with Seasons of Love. I thought she was absolute. Now, a couple of scratches today. Drebin had a temperature the last couple of days, so he didn't train. The white face punched the clock, had a little temperature. She didn't go. And the filly you were brushing, her name's Punch the Clock. Punchy. And Great Bet had a curb crowd, so he didn't go today. So aside from that, we had 6, 5, 11, 16. So we have 19 right now before them to come in. We'll have 21 at the barn. So Seasons of Love I went with was awesome. Horse that really impressed me. I see you guys scooping up all her shares. They're easy on the turns. I didn't get any shares of her. You were too greedy and you took them all. This filly looked amazing today. Very happy with her. Hallie in the Clouds looked great again. Winter Bells look good. And Bruno. Talk about Bruno. We don't see the same throwing his head and acting up that we had from Crantini and was obvious with Macho Martini. Horse has got all the speed that one for sure, we went with Crantini, that showed when he was young. Horse looks good. Very happy with Don't Talk About Bruno. Super happy with him. Seasons of Love was good. Easy on the turns was awesome. Hallie in the Clouds, Winter Bells, and Bruno were all very, very good today. The second set, Lonely Lakewood's back going. Johnny went with him, said he was very good. George of the Jungle, goofing off a little bit for Amy. It's not a big deal. It's like second time going in a group. International Spy was very, very good again. Mick Paisley is up here and looked good. And the winner of the set, as we finished up, went flying by everybody, was my girl, Insider Trading. She's putting it all together. Now, I'll tell you a little story as we get closer to the car wash. You're going to hurry it up. Insider Trading has been a little bit of a goofball to start with. We changed everything around, got her shod, got her going the right way. Now, when I pulled her up, if you've been to First Line, this is very concerning for me. Huge ditches, almost cliffs there, and she stopped in her front feet. She was acting up and walked right up onto the cliff almost, walked right up over it to the point where I couldn't back her up, I couldn't turn her. I had to get off, I had the trotting hobbles on her, had to undo the trotting hobbles, undo the jog cart, back the jog cart up. She stood there the whole time. Walked her back up onto the track. She stood as I put the jog cart and the hobbles back on her by myself. That's what kind of she's not a goofball. She put herself in that position, but calmly understood what it took to get out of that position. So I was super impressed with her understanding of the position she was actually in. She may not have understood how bad it could have turned out quickly, but she certainly understood how to get out of that situation, and I was super impressed with that. Not a lot of horses would do that. I was very, very impressed with that filly. Then the last set we went with a couple of pacers. I went with Time Is On Your Side, man. He looks how he's supposed to look. Amy went with Flash Fly. She was bouncing around. Amy said, she's goofing off. I said, she's just playing. Just let her play. So she was sick all week. Flash Fly played around today, but looked very good. J-Port Beach Boy looked very, very good on the track. I like this horse. Watch Your Mouth, who's the full brother to Don't Believe Me, Just Watch, was also here. He did his work very well, and James's colt, Blarney Castle, looked good also. So 3 good sets today. The babies here in Ontario look like they're ready. They're ready now to start working a little harder in unison, so we can start those sets as we start into the Christmas season, as we start in December. I suspect we will have 1 full drone session before we get to any open houses here for you guys. That I can predict. And in Ohio also, those horses were going in sets the other day. They're ready to go. So I'm going to look at the weather. If everything looks good for next Saturday, we might pull off Friday here in Ontario, if Curtis can, and Saturday in Ohio if Steve, the cameraman, can do that over there. That's the plan right now. I haven't asked either of them. You are the first people to hear about that, but that is my plan for next Saturday, is to have a drone next Friday. Drone here on Friday, if possible, in Ontario. Then after school, after the kiddies get out of school, go over to Northfield. Do you want to go to Ohio next week, Addie?
Yeah.
You do? For sure? And what do you want to see in Ohio?
Ducky.
Swimming.
We'll go swimming in Ohio. We'll see the duckies. And then we'll do a drone in the morning on Saturday. So that's the plan for next week. That's what's gone on this week. If I missed your horse, or you're thinking, hey, this horse should have been talked about, I apologize. I mean, I got a lot of horses to talk about. We've had a great year, and it continues. It continues. Even as we go through this restructuring where horses are moving here, there, getting them in place. You see Atlas Hanover, a winner, first asking. Good as Him, a winner, first asking. Red Overbach was second. These are the right moves, and they're going to pay off all winter long. So thank you all. I hope you all had a very, very good weekend. The weather was incredible here in Ontario. Just a great day, a great week, and hopefully a better one next week. Take care.